Welcome back. So with planning your perfect week, what you're going to do is a very old system that goes back to Hiram Smith and the time management gurus of the 1980s. It became very popular to describe goal setting and planning with a large empty mayonnaise jar, and then you would take that mayonnaise jar and you put in these big rocks, and those were your big priorities. Those were the big things you wanted to accomplish. And then the metaphor continued that you would then put in pebbles and then sand and then water. And so it was just describing that if you don't put the big rocks in first, if you don't handle your priorities first, then there's no room if you put a lot of water and sand in and then try to put the rocks into the mayonnaise jar. So this is something that's been in goal setting for decades and decades. And people use it all the time for time management. But I don't like to see it as time management because for me as a scientist, time is incredibly relational. It's incredibly ill-defined. As much as we like to think we have structure around time, we really don't. And so what I like to do is set up my perfect week by just focusing on my big rocks. So if you look at the top part of the downloadable that I'm going to let you use in this course, what I have is my relationship with myself, or my relationship with source, God, or the universe, however you want to call that. That's my very first big rock, because most of my life has been very spiritually based, and I always need time to just sit and focus on my own guidance system, my own source or God or universe, however you want to set that up. So I meditate. So if I'm not meditating, or if something's going wrong with that connection, if I find myself in grief, or if I find myself in a state of fear, the very first thing, my number one priority is to get myself feeling better. So the number one big rock that I have is if I'm not in a good place, then I am not at my optimum, and I focus on getting myself into that better place. So when I'm planning my week, I make sure that I have time to accomplish that task of making sure I check in with myself. Am I taking care of myself? Am I in a relationship and in my positive source, in my relationship with source? So that's number one. The second thing I focus on is my body. Is there any sort of appointments I need to keep? Is there anything I need to do to take care of the physical health of my body? Am I making it to my appointments to exercise? Am I disciplining myself in the sense of not disciplining the body, but that goes back to the old Catholics. What I mean is, am I focusing on my body so that I am working with it to become healthy and in its best, highest tuned state? So that is, chiropractic appointments. And am I making sure to go to the gym? Am I exercising? Am I taking time necessary to take care of this body of mine? The third big rock is my scholarship. Am I keeping myself mentally attuned? Am I making sure that I'm keeping my mind in a clear space? Am I learning? Am I creating? So for me, that mind and heart kind of are together. For the heart, I have down creativity and beauty. A lot of that is, am I taking time to do my drawing lessons? Am I taking time to learn a musical instrument? Beauty is, am I keeping my environment tidy around me? Am I tidying up in my office space as well as my home space so that I stay in a state of creativity because things are in its place? And then I focus on family, parents, friends. How are all those relationships going? And when you sit and focus on these big rocks every single week, my time is every Sunday morning from 6:30 until 8:30. I take 2 hours and I go through building my week, because after I focus on my big rocks and making sure those are in my week first as appointments to myself. So I live by my calendar. So as I make those appointments for myself, the next thing I do is I go to my week. So these are the questions I ask myself. What will make the week successful? How can I have more fun? How can I laugh more? How can I bring more joy? And then I focus on estate planning, because I've had several health crises. One was so stringent that they told me I had 6 months to live. So let me tell you about getting your estate in order. I have 4 children. I'm a single parent. I have a house. I have things that have to be taken care of. So I don't let that slide. I'm always making sure that things are focused on as far as my estate planning. And then I focus on, I want to meet a new person each week, and who is it going to be? And this may be not that I go out and meet a perfect stranger, but I run into people who hand me business cards or all that. And when I go to have this meeting with this new person every week, it's for nothing else than to learn their story. I'm not trying to make them a client. I'm not trying to persuade them to buy something from me. I'm not trying to dig into their life. I really am just trying to get to know them as an individual. And if you do this, if you have this focus of doing this once a week, you will get to know really well 52 people by the end of your year. You multiply that by 10 years, and you have over 5,000 people, right? So it's amazing how this stuff builds on itself when you really focus on one thing a week and you break it down into tiny tasks. And let me tell you, even if I'm on vacation, I can meet one person a week, and I make sure that I write down who that person was that week, and I write down everything I can remember about them, and I put them in my contacts, because I never know where I might have need of this person's wisdom and experience as I run through life. Because of the fact that my children are teenagers, I always am working on a menu, groceries. There's always an online course that I'm either building or taking. And so that's why I have online course here. And then I talk about meditation gardens and vegetable gardens. That's my current thing of what I want to do to focus on my house. Currently, as of this recording, it's wintertime. So I am now thinking, how do I want to improve my meditation garden and my vegetable garden? Lastly, I have a separate section here for scholarship and self-improvement. I list the books that I am currently reading. I have a list of books that I want to read. I have online courses that I'm taking. I currently have 15 links to this, where I'm slowly working my way through various online courses because I enjoy learning. I will be a student for life. So this is what I run through every week. And when it comes to the scholarship and self-improvement section, when I have that link, I put all the links down so I'm not having to constantly search for my login information, all that kind of stuff. I have it all listed here. And I put this on my Google Calendar every Sunday. There's a 2-hour block of time where I put all this information, so it's all in one place every Sunday. I know at 6:30, I'm going to go to that spot on my calendar, and all this information is going to be there. So I'm looking over this every single week. This is how I'm able to achieve what I can achieve. And every single week, I'm blocking out 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours a week where I'm taking these other online classes, or I'm implementing the lessons that I'm learning about. So this is one way that you can stay very active, very engaged, not only in your own self-study, self-improvement, but also in making the world a better place for those that are around you. Okay, the template is below. Go ahead and download it and break out your calendar, whatever calendar you use, whether it's electronic, what have you. I highly recommend electronic calendars, because that way you have access to links, and you can just put your links from emails of course creation people that you can put that in there, as well as keep track of your reading lists. I just use Google spreadsheets where I have a whole reading list, and I check off when I finish the book, as well as have some comments on what I've done. So anyhow, I will put that also there for you to be able to download. Have a great day.